Hello, my name is Nicole B. Guthridge, and this is my interpersonal communication project for class HSER 508. Introduction. When I began this class, I really didn't think that I would learn very much from it. I had taken a similar class during my undergraduate years, and I felt that this course was going to do little more than reiterate what I had previously learned. Very quickly, though, I realized that this class would be very different and would focus in on the specifics of communication, areas that I seemed to have the most difficulty in when looking at my own personal life were some of the exact topics covered in this course. In just a short amount of time, I came to realize that this course would not be another mind-numbing class I needed to get through, but a journey that would not only enrich my own life with a better understanding of communication, but also those around me that may see the difference and therefore create better relationships. Slide 3. Overarching goal. The master goal I would ultimately like to accomplish would be to be a better listener. This may seem relatively simple, but there are so many aspects to this one area that becoming a master listener could take a lifetime or more. The actual act of listening takes on so many more aspects than just hearing what a person is saying. To accurately listen, one must take in what the other person is communicating, give the person cues so that he or she knows that actual listening is taking place, and to respond in order to keep the communication moving forward. Being skilled in listening takes hard work. Speaking is definitely easier than listening because the function of speaking is to be understood, but the function of listening is to understand. Next slide. Enlarging the conversation. To enlarge the conversation is to go beyond what we have come to know and begin to approach it as a learned skill. It is also important to understand why a person is coming to you. What is the reason they have sought you out to speak with you? This could provide a good look into what communication is about. We need to be receptive of what others are saying, but we also need to create a way to keep the conversation going, such as Stewart suggests by the act of nexting. Slide 5. Combining the two. By combining my overarching goal of listening along with an effort to enlarge the conversation, better relationships can be created not only in my personal life but also in my professional life. Slide 6. Background. Considering that who we are is a direct result of what we have gone through in our lives, it is not surprising that many of my conversational problems stem from the strokes I went through as a child. Being reprimanded for interrupting and feeling as though what I had to say was not important could explain why I feel a necessity to get my point across, even if it means interrupting someone. Being told by my friends that what I was saying was stupid probably makes me self-conscious about everything I say now. However, having parents teach me that it is important to be polite and not rude has helped me in not offending too many people in my life. Slide 7. Behavioral blend. In Carbonell's personality patterns, I am a mix of S and C in my profile expected of me. This states that I think people expect me to be both submissive and competent, and have a tendency to be very passive. My This Is Me profile consists of C, I, and S, which states that I like people to get along, but I also want people to respond to me. Next slide. Positive and negative. Because I do have a tendency to be so self-conscious and worried about what others are thinking of me, I tend to lose sight of what the person is actually saying. This, in turn, can create the conflict I was hoping to avoid in the first place. Being a people pleaser isn't always bad, though. Because I want everybody to like me and to be happy, I believe that I can be more receptive to the new ideas or ways in which I can create a better person in myself through communication. Slide 9. Potential barriers. The negativity that is constantly in my thoughts and nearly as constantly and nearly as consistently coming out of my mouth has a great deal to do with the many barriers that I face when it comes to communication. I have been told many times throughout my life that I am much too negative and have definitely realized this for myself in the past couple of years. Not only has this affected my life, but also the lives of those around me. In order to overcome the negativity that comes innate to me, I must become self-aware and listen to myself and the way the things are coming out of my mouth. I also need to pray to God and ask Him to help me overcome my faults, and I need to do my best to make sure that the words that come from my mouth glorify Him. Slide 10. Since I do not want people to be angry with me, I often try to make big explanations when perhaps I should just be quiet and listen to what the other person is saying. Peterson explains that when a person comes up to you and states, "It's been a long time since you called me for lunch," instead of finding some excuse as to why I wasn't there, I need to remain quiet and listen to what he or she is saying, because there is probably an underlying message there. Much like Catherine in Fireproof, I have a hard time understanding the outside life that my husband leads. I don't understand everything he goes through in his job, and I often don't try to. I take my frustrations out on him and don't consider that he may have frustrations of his own. I often become flat-brained when receiving anything from him. Slide 11. Noise pollution solutions. The reason listening is a learned skill is because it is not something that a person can come by easily. It takes time and dedication to learn how to effectively use listening skills. According to Brown, there are 4 steps that can aid in effective listening. 1. Think about where the speaker is going. 2. Consider whether the supporting evidence supports the words. 3. Keep summarizing the points being made. 4. Listen between the lines and be aware of nonverbal communication. Is it supporting the perception of the verbal communication? Slide 12. Plan of action. I want to be a better listener because learning to effectively listen can open up a vast amount of doors, both in personal and professional areas. A listener may appear to be shy at first, but a true listener shouldn't remain completely silent. They need to encourage both with verbal and nonverbal cues, as well as provide their own feedback on the situation. This ensures that the speaker knows that the listener was truly paying attention. These are areas that I mainly want to focus on, but all communication does not run so smoothly. Slide 13. If there is a conflict present, an effective listener will remain calm and will listen and look for what is causing the problem. Instead of trying to find an exact answer or an easy fix, look for ways to encourage those who are upset to talk through their problems. When a time comes to say something, perhaps just paraphrase what he or she was saying, and this might help the speaker to take a new look at his or her problem. This action plan that I have created is important. However, I never want to forget that God can provide the best help and comfort. To go to Him often in prayer and to read His teachings can always give us an invaluable source of knowledge.